Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the People of Packaging podcast, coming to you live from the Label Kingdom. If you're watching this, you can see my lovely corrugated throne, my fantastic Label King rubber duck. It's all happening, everyone. It's all happening. Today, I am excited to be joined by Xavier. Oh man, I think I nailed it. I think I nailed it. Xavier Yosef. He's the Vice President of Global Marketing, Innovation, and Business Development for Aptar Beauty. And we're going to do something a little bit different today. You'll notice there's a different intro, and we're going to have a little bit of a different take on the People of Packaging podcast. So you do not want to miss this. We're going to go through the top 5 questions that are asked on Google about AI and packaging. So let's get going. Xavier, how
Hello,
are you?
Adam. Good. Hello, Adam. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me in your show. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm excited. Would I say bonjour?
Bonjour, of course.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. I Let me tell you a story about technology and language that was a complete failure on my part. So I tried to learn French on Duolingo. I gave it a shot. And for like 18 months, I was on there every day. And what I realized is if you don't actually speak it, if you just like practice on an app, it's really hard to learn the language because I left and after 18 months, all I can say in French is tu manges un cheval, which has no use case. Do you eat
Not really, no.
Are you eating a horse? Is just like nobody ever asks
Mm,
that question, I'm pretty sure, over in
I
France.
can confirm nobody asks. But thanks for the effort. Thanks for the effort. We appreciate.
I do. I was preparing for our exchange student actually coming into our house. I couldn't learn Wolof, which is a language in Senegal, and so I was trying to learn French, and I crashed and burned. It's a tough language, I'll tell you that much. But um, you are in just outside of Paris, correct?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Um, and how long give me a little bit of background on how long you've been in the industry, how long have you worked for Aptar, uh, all the
Okay.
all the fine details.
All right. So I've been with the industry for more than a quarter of a century, more than 25 years old. And I actually started in the US working for L'Oreal in New York City. So after some business school studies, I started at the L'Oreal School of Marketing, where I worked for more than 15 years, developing new products actually, because what I always wanted to do was to develop new products. I've always been fascinated by concepts, imagery, consumer needs, desires, packaging, formula, advertising. So I did that for L'Oreal, let's say, in the US, in Europe, in Japan as well for 5 years. And then after L'Oreal, I went to work in the consumer healthcare world because I wanted to explore the health playground, which was very interesting, different model.
Yeah.
Then I came back to skincare to work at big companies like Beiersdorf, the guys who do the Nivea cream. I've been working at the convergence of beauty and health, which is these days a very hot and exciting topics. And following my passion for innovation, now I am at Aptar. I've been with Aptar for 5 years. And actually, it's very interesting to be on the other side of the camera, if I may say, walking up the ladder of innovation, walking up the stream of innovation, being on the supplier or partner side, because I believe we can have more power downstream by being a bit more on the upstream. And I think this is what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Is there I want to get to these questions 'cause I think these are fascinating. It's a awesome background and framework. If you could go back and talk to Xavier, did I say that right by the way in the intro?
Perfect.
Ah,
Perfect.
perfect. If you could go back to when you were working at L'Oreal, let's say, now knowing what you know at Aptar, if you could go back and say, boy, I wish that older or younger me would have known something about the supplier side of packaging. Is there anything that you wish you could teleport back to that person and say like, if I would have known now, then no, if I would have known what I know now back then, I think I could have helped do any particular thing. Any piece of wisdom you give to your younger self, I guess.
Well. I think I wish I would have loved knowing that it's a world, the packaging world, let's say the packaging industry world. I think I would have loved knowing that it's a world of possibilities instead of a world of constraints.
Mm.
Because when you're a marketeer in one of those big consumer companies, you work with your packaging team. They're totally awesome. They propose you options. You work on the packaging details. I was very well trained technically by my packaging team when I started at L'Oréal. But you always feel like you have to manage constraints. Oh, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. And actually, it's wrong. I mean, if you manage to engage properly between the marketeers in the consumer good industry and the partners in the packaging industry, actually, you can open a world of possibilities instead of a world of constraints.
I love that is well said. Do you want to host a podcast about packaging maybe? I think you'd do great.
I mean, you know what? I will come to Salt Lake City with great pleasure to co-host with you because I love the US. I love this part of the US. So
Yeah.
don't start me there.
Especially if you ski, it's a pretty or
I
snow.
do ski.
Yeah.
I do ski. I hike. I mountain bike. Yeah, for sure.
This is your spot then. Salt Lake City is
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
There are direct flights on Delta between Paris and Salt Lake City. I can confirm because I have done it. It's a long flight, but it's not bad. Okay, so I have here in my hands this piece of paper, and what we've never done here before on the People of Packaging podcast in almost 8 years of hosting this show. It's crazy enough. Is I have the top 5 questions asked on Google about AI and packaging. So are you ready for this? I feel like I'm a
I
game.
am. I am.
And what does he win, Bob? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so the first question is, how can AI improve sustainability in packaging? That is question number uno. How can AI improve sustainability in packaging?
There are many possibilities, but I think that one of them is about simulating the association of various raw materials that will take too much time to somehow synthesize or make granular batches with and mold. So you can do a lot of actually simulation of new types of resins, new type of materials, the way they're gonna behave mechanically, the way they're gonna interact with various types of formulas and formula raw material in order to save time. I mean, we've been doing that in one of our projects where we're after a new type of material which should have specific mechanical, optical properties, chemical resistance as well, for a particular type of products. And we've been working with a startup that has taken the brief regarding material properties, and then they are assembling, screening in a very fast manner various type of monomers, then polymers, and see what answers the brief. So it's really outcome-driven brief to an AI solution in order to simulate and avoid basically the groundwork. So that's one example.
That's a great example. And I think about just the amount of time that would be saved in researching some things, especially right. There's AI
You
models.
save time, and also you save material because
Correct.
you don't have to basically mold, inject, formulate, and then basically throw many stuffs. So you save time for sure, but you also save, substance. You avoid a lot of waste. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. And I even think about if they wanted to take that and maybe 3D model it now and show it, on a shelf, let's say. I don't know where the brand is, but if they're at an Ulta or whatever, then they could go in there and they could you could see what it might look like on the shelf and then take a picture and then render that photo and yeah, there's
Exactly. Alors, when it comes here, I gave you an example which was very like 100% science and technology because it's material interaction based on desired physical and chemical and optical properties, taking into account regulation. So it's purely technical and science driven. I think that when consumers come into play, I don't put all my basically hopes into AI, or I like balancing artificial intelligence with augmented intuition.
Hmm.
So here you need to be discerning and you need to play with generative AI models, okay, but maybe not put on the shelf and test exactly what the AI has generated, but put some, human sensitivity, human intuition to maybe tweak it a little bit. This is what I call when I exchange with my team, make AI agents, Gen AI solutions part of the brainstorming team, but don't let them take control of the whole consumer experience.
I love the connection between artificial intelligence. I think you said the phrase
Augmented intuition.
augmented intuition. That's what the phrase was. I love that so much. They're both AI,
Yeah,
but and they can work in beautiful unison. But if you just let one run crazy, then you could end up with a less than ideal product. That's great. Another area that I see a lot of AI, and we'll get to these other questions here in a second. Um, Improving sustainability is with just data reporting. So you talk about material interactions, but now that we have there's regulations over in Europe, which I'm sure you're familiar with. There's regulations here in the US. There's regulations happening specifically around packaging, and AI can really drive a lot of that data and help companies not only be in compliance but also reduce waste and reduce costs is what I found. And there's a lot of people
of
that
course.
play in that field.
Of course, definitely, yes.
Okay, question number 2. I feel like I need a drum roll. Do I have? Let me see. They put these new media assets here into um oh, look at this. I think I have this. Question number 2. I won't do that. Maybe I'll do it for every question. I've never played with this sounds thing. The question is, how can AI create personalized and interactive packaging experiences?
Personalized, interactive packaging experiences. That's a vast world. I think that, you need to distinguish in the packaging what we would call, let's say, the engine, because Aptar, it's a dispensing company. We do pumps. In a pump, you have a cartridge, which is like a platform, an engine, which is very, very technical. You cannot afford to have multiple types of engines. It's like the car industry. So for that one, we try to standardize as much as possible. But then there is what goes around the shell, what we call the custom side. And here we can play a lot with AI, generative AI, to customize around the engine at will. So you can take a brief related to a brand that has a certain positioning, that has certain values, that wants also to convey a certain sensoriality in the experience. And then you can integrate the technical constraints of the engine into the AI model, but then put all the other more qualitative cues and see what comes out. And then now today with basically fast molding and assembly capabilities and also the possibility to have a semi-automatic assembly or production lines that are more and more effective to do. Yeah, you can leverage AI in the packaging world to serve needs for more personalization. I would say at this stage, let's say customization, because if you want to go for the packaging of one, my very own shape, etc., okay, it's possible, but then economically, I'm not sure it's very viable. So I would stop the needle here at customization, where there is already a lot of interesting things to do.
So let me dream with you for a second, because you seem like an innovative person. I believe it is exactly in your title. So imagine what happens with customizing of products right now. So you can go customize your own sneakers, you can customize toys, you can customize, shirts and all sorts of stuff. So imagine a material that could be 3D printed safely, right? So there's a certain material that can be 3D printed, and if you wanted to make a bottle that was your face, I don't know, it might be kind of a weird thing, but we'll go with it. So somebody uploads a file of their face, and then you have an AI model that models it, puts it into a 3D render, sends it over to the 3D printer, prints and forms the outer. I guess this would be the not necessarily the stuff that Aptar is doing, but this is the bottle that your pump would go into, right? And it can form a bottle that is a one-off bottle that is, the contour of someone's, or whatever it is that they want to do. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, a bottle that could be reloadable, so you just 3D print an outer shell that is durable because it's better for sustainability reasons. And then you just reload it with a simple content and you put an Aptar pump on it. Yeah,
Yep.
it's a great use case. It's a
There
great use
we go.
case.
We've innovated.
Of course, this is what we do.
That's amazing. All right. Question number 3. What are the challenges and risks of using AI in packaging? We've identified one, right, which is too much artificial
Yeah,
intelligence without augmented
yeah.
intuition. What are some other challenges and risks?
You need to work with good data, uh, reliable source when it comes from the outside, well curated, organized, and populated when it comes from internal source. And then, depending on the model with which you work, I mean, you need to make sure that you have enough safety somehow fences around the model you're going to use so that what you do, what you create, stays within your company and is not going outside and being used by other AI to do some other stuff. So, and as well, IP is always a delicate thing, but it's another reason for working with a model within your own controlled environment, somehow ring fenced, and this is possible these days.
Hmm. I was going to say the exact same thing.
Wow.
It is a little bit scary when you think about not having the right fences and protections, especially
Mm.
for if you're a company like Aptar, and I've worked in various packaging companies where you are given pretty Loctite secretive data about a brand's product that they're going to be releasing in 12 months or 18 months. I mean, oftentimes the product development cycle takes place pretty early on within packaging. Not all, sometimes it's, oh my gosh, everything's on fire and we need it right away. But you get this data and you get their release. And if you're running that through AI and it's not protected and that gets out, and now their
Mm.
competitors see it, or somebody picks up on it that's not supposed to, and they start to
Yeah.
they make that product over in another market. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, I mean, millions and millions of dollars of revenue lost for your customer, um, and likely some sort of litigation coming. And that's a huge risk if you're not careful with your customers' data, especially in leveraging AI for innovation. So it's like, this is great for innovation, but if that gets out beyond the walls of Aptar, that could be really problematic.
Of course. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That was a good question, and
Yeah.
we were in unison. Um, Question number 4. I'm gonna get this soundboard is ridiculous. What are the future trends for AI in the packaging industry? So future trends. What we've talked about, maybe the 3D rendering of a personalized one-off container. What are some other maybe future trends that you see?
I think there is still a lot to do in simulation to de-risk new product development and accelerate go-to-market, especially with sustainability and regulatory requirements becoming more and more important. I mean, there are some use cases out there, but I think these are just baby steps. And I think that also those may be the most profitable and safest use cases to go after, because when it comes to digital transformation and AI, you can get lost in what I call the AI sphere. So you need to re-anchor to what's the customer experience, what's the customer journey, or what's the employee's experience. Where do I have the biggest problems to be solved? We've seen that there are basically two groups to begin with. One is pretty consumer facing with ideation, but here, watch out, don't put your hands and your soul into purely AI. Watch out with IP, with confidentiality. And then there is the more science and tech driven to de-risk and accelerate. This is where I would go always more intense and intense and intense, because it's a no-brainer, but there is still a lot to do.
Yeah. As we were talking, I was thinking about the fact that especially over in Europe, but even here in the US, right, people engage with packaging with primary languages as their different language. And so I could see pretty quickly a future trend in AI. This is consumer facing, where somebody we'll say it's an app, or maybe it's like I have these smart Ray-Ban glasses, something like that. And they could read the label in their native language. So let's say it's a box or a label or something, they could pick it up, and AI has translated that into thousands of languages potentially pretty quickly. And so they know, because they have their glasses, that they could look at it, they could read it, it would be translated in their language, they could see it. There's no questioning. If English is your fifth language, for example, maybe some nuance is going to be lost on that label, if instead of reading in your native language. So and it would reduce a lot of waste, honestly, because of all the multilingual components that we have.
Totally, yeah. Totally. I think building on your point, there is also still a lot to do to imagine more inclusive product experiences of all forms. So you talked about the copy on the packaging, but who knows tomorrow regarding shapes and every other aspects of inclusive design. We don't know everything. So here I go back more to the creative and ideation and design side, where I will not put all my thoughts into AI, but still it can be of a great help to contribute to the brainstorming in a way, by generating shapes, making some trials based on some ergonomic constraints that people with fine motor skill disorders may have. It's an area that we've been investing a lot into at Aptar, and we're quite pioneering in our field. So answering to your question and building on your later point, I think it's also an area of future trend and investment.
That's great. That's a fantastic point. Okay, final question. Here we go with our drum roll. How does AI accelerate product development and manufacturing? We've covered this a little bit, but
we have a little bit.
It's a good place.
I can give you a fun example that we have at Aptar. As you know, so we make dispensing pumps. Those are pumps that dispense hand soap, shampoo, body lotion. There is a critical step in new product development from our customer side. It's the compatibility test between the formula and the pump. Depending on the viscosity and the rheology of the formula, not all pumps are going to work. So there you go into screening 10 pump, 5 pump, hoping they will pass the functional test, and then you need to put them in compatibility testing to make sure that after 2 months at 45 degrees, it will still work, etc., etc., etc. Well, we have created an AI-enabled model that predicts functional compatibility results. So depending on the formula, rheology, and viscosity, it's going to tell you, depending on the Aptar dispensing pump that you take, the force to actuate, the suction power, and the stroke to prime that you are going to get, depending on the pump and depending on the formula. And that's a very concrete use case, not only a use case, but model that we have to help accelerating go-to-market and de-risking new product development, and also avoiding waste. Because actually, instead of putting, I don't know, 5 pumps in compatibility testing, you just put 2 because you've been able to screen a lot of things ahead thanks to our model.
That's a great place to end up because that's an amazing use case for what you're doing over there at Aptar. So how do people learn more? I mean, obviously I've been blessed to know Aptar as a company now for quite a while. Shout out to Jamie for putting this together. So how do people get in touch with Aptar to learn more, not just about AI, but also what you're doing in an area of the world that I don't think people really realize is so critically important and big, which is the pump world. So how do people learn more?
First basic step, which is a bit impersonal but exists, is go to aptar.com, aptar.com. You will find the contact us form. First, you will find a lot of interesting information on the site. We have like some white papers on sustainability and inclusive design. We have a very nice newsroom where we issue and publish all of our press releases about new product launches that we do with or without lead customers. A lot of details about our technology innovation capabilities. And then if you want to get in touch with someone in particular, you fill out the contact us form. Or you go on LinkedIn, you search for some people who work at Aptar, you could have an affinity with, and you engage. But then you need to know that people are very busy, like everywhere. So I do not guarantee that people will answer to you right away. But let's start the conversation. This is what we like doing.
I love it. Well, thank you. Oh shoot,
Thank you.
Xavier.
Yeah. Yes.
I even wrote it down. I really appreciate you coming on the show. This has been fantastic. I've loved watching the journey with Aptar over the last probably 7 or 8 years that I've been following the company. It's been cool to see
Thank
the
you.
level of innovations that you all have and will continue to do. So very excited. Everybody go check out aptar.com, aptar.com. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Adam. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all.